You don't belong here." I froze as the HOA Karen in her pink bathrobe screamed in my face right outside my own house, calling the cops because I moved in one day early. Seriously? But when I looked at her driveway, my heart nearly stopped beating. No way. She'd been breaking the law for years without knowing it, and I just found the evidence that could destroy her completely. The woman who thought she controlled this neighborhood had handed me the keys to her downfall. Comment and predict what happens when I confront Karen about this secret. Look, I've seen some weird stuff in my life. Divorced people fighting over who gets the good coffee maker. Sure. Contractors arguing about whose fault the crooked tile is. Daily occurrence. But a grown woman in cat slippers declaring war on me before I even got my keys out. That was a new one. I'm standing there thinking, did I accidentally buy her house? Did I run over her dog and forget? Nope. Turns out my crime was existing in my own driveway. Go figure. This is Austin, by the way. Master plumber, recent divorce survivor, and apparently public enemy number one, according to the Pink Bathrobe Patrol. The morning air carried the sound of her fury, a high-pitched keening that made dogs bark 3 houses away. Her bathrobe belt had come untied, flapping behind her like surrender flag she refused to wave. The pink terry cloth caught the morning breeze like a deranged superhero cape, and her phone's bedazzled case threw tiny rainbows across her fury-twisted face. I could smell coffee from other kitchens mixing with her shrill accusations, creating this surreal breakfast theater where I was apparently the villain in someone else's nightmare. The sound of those fuzzy slippers slapping against wet pavement echoed between houses like gunshots announcing the start of suburban warfare. Here's where it gets interesting. This woman, Abigail Gonzalez, and trust me, I'll never forget that name, wasn't just having a bad morning. She had props. A clipboard materialized from somewhere in those fuzzy pockets along with a measuring tape and what appeared to be a professional camera with a telephoto lens. This wasn't random crazy neighbor behavior. This was premeditated crazy neighbor behavior, which is so much worse. She'd been planning this confrontation, probably watching my house for days, waiting for the perfect moment to establish whatever twisted authority she thought she had over my property. "Ma'am, what seems to be the problem this time?" That's Officer Reyes, and I could already tell from his tone that this wasn't his first rodeo with the bathrobe sheriff. The emphasis he put on this time told me everything I needed to know about Abigail's relationship with local law enforcement. She whirled around like she'd been waiting her whole life for this moment, clutching that clipboard like it contained the Constitution itself. "This man is conducting unauthorized early occupancy and commercial trespassing," she announced, pointing at me like I was holding a smoking gun instead of my own house keys. I handed Officer Reyes my ownership papers, deed, title, the whole stack of documents that proved I had every legal right to be standing in my own driveway. He looked at the paperwork, looked at Abigail in her bathrobe and curlers, and I watched 20 years of police experience play across his face. "Ma'am, this gentleman owns this property. He has every right to be here. You'd think that would end it, right? Wrong." Abigail puffed up like an angry bird and launched into this speech about neighborhood standards and maintaining property values and ensuring the right type of people lived here, the right type of people. I'm a plumber who saved for 3 years to buy this house. Apparently that made me some kind of neighborhood terrorist. That's when the real crazy came out. Abigail started taking pictures of me, not sneaky surveillance shots, but full-blown paparazzi action with that professional camera. The sound of the shutter mixed with morning bird songs, creating this bizarre soundtrack to what was rapidly becoming the weirdest Tuesday of my life. For documentation purposes, she announced like she was conducting some kind of official investigation. She photographed my truck from 6 different angles, my work tools, even my coffee cup. I felt like a crime scene being processed by someone who had learned police procedure from watching too much TV. Tom Collins, my neighbor from across the street, approached with a friendly smile and a welcome to the neighborhood coffee, but I could see him sizing up the situation like a guy who'd witnessed this particular brand of crazy before. "Software developer, work from home, see everything that happens on this street," he said quietly, handing me his business card. "Trust me when I say you're going to want to document every interaction with that woman." His voice had that tone people use when they're trying to warn you about something without stating it outright, like when your friend tells you their ex is complicated. Here's what really got my attention, though. Those survey stakes I noticed near the property line. Small orange flags marking boundaries. Fresh dirt around the posts, like they had been installed recently. Every time I glanced at them, Abigail got more agitated, quickly changing the subject back to my violations of early occupancy protocols. Protocols that apparently existed only in her head, but she defended them like they were carved in stone tablets. There was something about those stakes that made her nervous, like they represented